Greetings, fellow necromancers, goblins, and urukai. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of a new series of RimWorld called Death of the Isle. If you would like to skip the scenario and setup, please use YouTube chapters. It is the Third Age, and Dark Lord Sauron has commanded Tal, Crimson, and Shield to lay siege to the remote island of Tolfalas. The island is dotted with both villages and garrisons of coastal elves and Gondorian, so the task will be difficult. A stronghold must be constructed, and a great lich must be trained to conquer the island in the name of the Dark Lord. The goal is to establish a beachfront stronghold, train a great lich, and destroy all of the settlements of man and elf. All non-slave members must believe in Sauron. All non-slave members must have skills worthy of note, and only an army led by a lich may conquest enemy settlements. This is our beautiful world, and if you're wondering, it is currently obscured by fog of war. We have just arrived, so we don't have knowledge of what the island really looks like or where the settlements are. And we are right on the rocky coast. Tolfalas is a rocky island, and we are the Tolfalan Corsairs, destined to raid the island and have it fall. Here's our beautiful home tile along the rocky coast, and to introduce you to the characters. So Tal is a chef. He is a half-elf, enlightened summoner who's industrious, sanguine, and kind. Kind is strange, but kind nonetheless. And he is the leader, the captain of our little conquest here. Then there's Crimson. Crimson is a goblin hunter, who's a woodsman, bloodlust, trigger happy, and jogger. And then Shield, who is a bladesman, who's tough, a brawler with giant's blood. And these three are the initial starting characters. As far as the factions go, we have Servants of the Dark Lord. We won't really be interacting with them directly. Sometimes they will visit, sometimes they may trade, but they don't really have a presence on this island, so it's not as if we can travel to them because we are the initial conquest of the island, the coastal haven of the elves, and Gondor. And they are, of course, hostile with us. So, first order of business, let's analyze the map. Enemies can come in from the south and the north, because east is an ocean and west is a mountain. So that gives us a lot of strategic benefits. And there is this nice swath of fertile soil right in the middle. Now, anyone familiar with RimWorld of Magic knows if you have a druid or a geomancer or something, you can change soil a little bit. But given that we don't, we have a bladesman, a woodsman, and a summoner, we're kind of stuck with what we have. So I am going to go over the manual priorities, putting everybody on some work priorities here. Oops. So that we can set up. So what I want everyone doing is, let's say Crimson, you are, despite being a woodsman, I'm going to initially give you the the iron hatchet. The iron hatchet has a bonus speed to cutting down trees, and you are going to get to work. I'm actually going to change your priorities. So you're going to plant, cut, over, grow, and I am going to set you up to get some food. Now, because we are in medieval times, there's not like refrigeration. It's possible that we get like a ice mage or someone capable of producing cold from a spell. But unless that's the case, we're very much stuck with preserving our foods with like salt and preparing them. So we got to be careful about our food intake. Plus, the wildlife here, there's some wildlife now, like bison, boomlopes, and donkeys, but it would be pretty easy to kill them all off, as like half of this map is either mountains or ocean, so it doesn't support a ton of fauna. All right, the other thing I want to do is to set up an initial room. So this room is probably going to get torn down once we have stone, decent stone cutting and a supply of stone. So it's not a room that's going to stick around very long. Ideally, maybe one that does not require... Maybe we'll put it here. Does not require a lot of trees being cleared out of the way. So that Crimson can focus mostly on farming initially. So we have this little 11 by 11 box, and I am going to stick some doors on it. Very original, square, and boring. All right, Tal, let's have you go ahead and work drive shield. And then shield, grab the knife. Tal, you're going to go weaponless. I'm also going to allow everything that's on the map tile, which will be like timber and meat, coal, mana potions, some basic components, to be hauled. One of the first things I want Tal to do, and the reason why the only caster I have initially is a summoner, is minions will help a lot in getting everything constructed. So I'm going to have... He only knows summon explosives, so I'm going to have him practice summon explosives to get better at magic, which will allow him to unlock additional abilities. As far as Crimson and Shield goes, Crimson is going to auto-cast Arrowstorm, which is a volley of arrows, which will help him level up, and then Shield will also use Phase Strike, very much for the same reason. Trying to become more powerful, because this island is infested with Gondorian and elves, both of which need to die. Alright, we're going to go ahead with a butcher table, a trestle to be able to process raw wood into logs, or timber rather, a research bench, a table, stools, a torch lamp, and some very boring wicker beds, as we don't have straw or cloth to make better ones. If we do some hunting, we'll get access to the fur beds, but that's not going to be for a hot minute. We can also set up a stone cutting spot, and that's going to allow us to unlock the cooking table, because we need stone to run those. So it's a lot of initial construct. And I think with Crimson, because we're going to need a lot of wood, I'm going to task him with just cutting down the trees in the area. And hope that we don't run into any ents, because that would be a little tricky. I don't want to have to fight the ent moot. Would not be great. Get a little recreation. I'm not going to do the cups and dice though, because it takes a while to set up. I'm mostly just interested in getting the bare necessities. Let's summon another explosive, and that unlocks Summon Minion. So once I have the mana to start summoning minions, minions can help to haul and clean and the like. The fuel for the wooden torch, I think for now will be raw wood, but at some point we might move over to coal, depending on resource availability. Why can't I just chug mana potions, spam abilities? They're addictive, and becoming addicted to them is a bit of a problem. So I could take one, but it's not so urgent that I need to summon minions that it's worth consuming mana potions. They're kind of like a, oh no, we're being attacked and my mana's low type of thing to consume. Think of it as like go juice for mages. To be consumed when needed, not when wanted. So looking at the map, we have some tactfully useful deep water here. Some pretty easy choke points here, where we can wall this up and drive them eastward, and then wall that up and drive them eastward, forcing them to attack eastward. So I have some designs in mind here. There's also some research to queue up here. So initially, I think I am going with cultivation, as that's going to allow me to plant parasite thorn bush, which is useful for magic items, and Pomana cerium bushes, which is useful for mana potions. And this is the initial little structure. Where'd he off to? Oh, he's just grabbing timber. Got it. So, we'll call this the rice field. And once that's planted, that's a lot of rice. Once that's planted, I will have Crimson start working on the other reagents for mana potions, which is smoke leaf and psychoid leaf. Paired, of course, with the Pomana, which we don't have yet researched, but that's what Tal is working on. And now we have little minions. And Tal is going to get Enticing Offer, so when he casts them, he gets 2 of them instead of 1. Seems efficient. Hoping for quality wicker beds here. Yeah, excellent and good. That's pretty good. And we have a little bit of food. Enough for maybe a few days. So we're going to need to start focusing on hunting as well. That is a lot of timber far away. Do minions eat? They don't. They're temporary haulers on like a life timer, which is this yellow bar. When they die, sometimes they form corpses, sometimes they dissipate. I think they're supposed to always dissipate, but again, as I was saying at the start, buggy mod. So, buggy mod does buggy mod things is all I can say. So here we want large animal corpses. I'll just call this butchery for now. For the trestle, I'm going to make until we have, let's say, 210 timber. Sounds about right. And I'll even have Tal pitch in for that. Because I don't need the research urgently, as we're going to be taking a while to sow the rice fields. I might even shrink the rice fields. That's probably more rice than I need. Let's bring it up to like maybe a clean 100. There. Going for a walk. No, I don't think Dark Lord Sauron sent you to this island to go for a walk. So Shield's leveling up in combat skill, and I'm going to have him level up body training. Body training gives extra manipulation and moving, which is going to be useful for getting this outpost set up. That's probably the biggest bottleneck. Pop of 2, Breakfire and Ignifolio, Xgamer and Tangier. Thanks for the subs and gifted subs. Cheers. Okay, we have the beds. I don't think we're going to get the roof on the place. I can try to have Tal help and contribute to wall construction as best as he's able. But I think that we're going to be sleeping outside tonight. But a decent amount of initial setup, I would say. Mikulski, thank you for the resub too. Oh, actually, maybe, just maybe we get it. I am going to... schedule them for pure work, and to make sure that Crimson doesn't go for the farm. Crimson leveled up. I'm going to have Crimson try to work towards ranger training. Basically, I'm trying to invest in passive, useful skills that everyone will benefit from, rather than general ones. And the last bed was good. Okay, so there's 3 good beds. The roof has been built. This is an inside barracks. It sucks, but it's day 1. What do you expect? They're asleep. Okay, the current priority right now is start cultivating for mana potions and stone cutting. The natural stones we have in this map tile is slate, limestone, and I believe marble? Or no, granite. Yeah. Granite, slate, and limestone. I was thinking, despite the fact that granite is a stronger material, that it will look more roleplay lore specific if we do some lovely slate. So that's the intention, to get slate blocks going. So I'm going to make any stone blocks here, but not any, just slate. So I'll rename this, make slate stone blocks. Drop them on the floor when we're done. And I'm going to start having the minions bring slate chunks here, which will cut down on travel time. And then also the stone cutting spot, I'm going to shrink the ingredient radius to really only include that stockpile, because I don't want people running halfway across the map for it. So we'll start hauling slate chunks to the base so we can get the black gates built. Scorpio, thank you for the gifted subs. I hope you enjoy. And it's possible to use the limestone for pathing and granite for the inside or something like that. We'll come up with a good scheme for all stone. That, or alternatively, I could use the limestone to infuse to become magicite, which is a like magical mineral. That would be another viable use for it. So the current push is to get mana potions and stone cutting up. But what do we want to build first? We could build bedrooms, kitchen, storage, or defenses. Have you guys decide that? So polls right there. Now, I will mention, in terms of defenses, we initially have orc walls, which are tough walls, but there are embrasures, which we could build, and there's nicer embrasures in the elven fortification research tree. So if we hold off on defenses, we can actually get embrasure defenses, which might be a little bit more useful. So even though this is temporary, I don't want it to suck, so throwing down some simple flooring for it. Crimson is 4/5 done sewing that, so let's queue up Smoke Leaf. I'm gonna have a zone of like 30, maybe? So this is 27, so let's do 30. And then Psychoid, I'm going to have like a zone of 60. Psychoid takes longer than Smoke Leaf to grow, so if I want equal amounts of them, I need to plant a different quantity. right. Additionally, once that's planted, cloth would be pretty useful, so I can make mage weave. As I suspect mage weave is something that we're going to want in higher quantities as well. So Shield is cutting the slate, and it looks like you guys are going to want to build a kitchen, but I'll wait for that pole to formalize and end. Breakfire, thanks for gifting out subs too. And Siddhartha Gaia for the resub. Wiper as well. Cheers. Or Wipe Rozo, I should say. That's probably your name, right? So the other rich soils here. These soils, kind of far away from the base. It's possible to utilize them for lengthy grow time crops, like Parasite Thornbush or Devil Strand or something like that. There's also this, same deal for these. They're going to be really hard to incorporate into the base because they're sort of far-flung. So unless we have an expansive city with a lot of labor, it's not likely that we use that stuff, I don't think. So Crimson's getting the smoke leaf and the psychoid planted. Shield is cutting stones, and Tal is working on getting us cultivation. So cultivation here gives us the Parasite Thornbush and Pomana Cerium bush. Cerium is a byproduct of pressing the Pomana Cerium, and it's addictive and enlightening, and also an ingredient for mana potions. And I'll start building the slate cooking table. This is obviously not where it's going to go. It's going to go in its own dedicated kitchen. But I'll just build it, and then also build some cooking tools to pair with it as well. And there we go, more minions. Now the other chunks, I'll just put over here to collect them. As sort of like an overflow. That way all of these chunks here just get moved out of the way. Actually, I don't want... What happened here? This should only be slate. There we go. All right, let's start working on that kitchen. It's not Rome in the current priority, but I'll build it. So a permanent spot for the kitchen. I think what we could do is we could have this main farm focused on food. So I'll plan out the walls of a kitchen here. Something like this, where we have a door here into a larger kitchen area, and then we're going to want the kitchen to be next to recreation and dining so that there's a short travel time to get food to then meals. But this is a pretty decent kitchen spot, I think. Cut down those trees, and then in the kitchen, we're also going to want something that represents a butchery. So I'll include one of those as well. Put like a butchery in here to store corpses and butcher them. Keeping them separate will keep it all cleaner. And for now, because Shield is... Oh no, he's coming over. Trim away some of the mountain. It's in our way. It's very orc to just be like, mountain's in the way, cut it down. You can't cut mountains, that's not how it works. Watch me. So I think what I want to do here is to tile with granite, possibly. I mean, it's a very strange choice given the defensive bonuses of granite. But I think it will look better than tiling in limestone, personally. I'm gonna put a door here, and then the kitchen table itself, I'll plop something like that. And then we'll want shelves for food storage next to this door. The door will lead out to a dining room once this tar pit and broken cart are broken down out of the way. I don't really need to do that until we're done with some of the other tasks anyway. I could even put a butchery sign. That's the other thing is, so let's have this butchery be joined, obviously, by doors. And then the hunters can come in from this direction and possibly even mine it out around so that we can traverse around the building from the south. I don't mind doing mountain moving. The mountains are in the way they have to go. They're about almost halfway for the research. Crimson's leveled up too. So for Crimson, just like Shield, I'm investing in like high passives. So movement speed over specific abilities. So becoming a Bowmaster 1 and a Blade Dancer 2 instead of anything else. So a lot of the largest huntable creatures are right at map's edge, which is kind of inconvenient to get to. The donkeys are slightly closer, I guess. Alright, Tal, let's get you off of construction duty now. And it seems like Crimson is just about done sewing everything that needed sewing. So let's continue. I said I wanted cotton for cloth, as that's going to be important in order to get Mage Weave. So we'll do 100 cotton. I'm going to stick a hay rack out here to see if we can't dry this hay into straw. I don't think we're going to want straw beds, but I think once Crimson's done sewing things, I'll have him start hunting, and that will allow us to make fur beds instead. We're down to 32 dry meat. Keeping an eye on that closely. I'm also going to turn off auto home zoning and readjust the home zones myself, because the game likes to paint things that I don't really care about into the home zone by default. And here we go, a little bit of magicite from the slate, or the granite rather. So once Shield's done with that, it's possible to either have Crimson start hunting or start working on crafting. And I think for now, I'm going to have 2 stone cutters just so that we can do more building. Oh, visitors from the Servant of the Dark Lord. We got Bell and Ivan, both Mordor orcs. One's a archer and the other's a brawler. Hope they're happy with progress so far. They're probably reporting back to the Dark Lord. Is there anything else I would want to grow at this time? Maybe a lembas plant, actually. So before Crimson joins in helping to cut stone, I'll grow some lembas as well, which is useful food. It will require some research, so maybe we don't bother with the research and we just stockpile the lembas, but we'll see. Blah. We'll see. Oh, look at you. What is that? Oh, Elven. Haha, cutting down their trees and making a club out of it. Perfect. Like it. And you have an enchanted steel glory maul. What are you? Just neither of them are minor magic. And they're gifting us unusually large dire wolf pelts. Okay. Yeah. That's totally cool. I will start working on that, I guess. Unexpected. So for that, we need tannins. So I'm going to make tannins from wood. I'm just going to do it once with Tal. That should be enough. Boiling wood down into tanning liquors and then and getting those pelts tanned. Will man flesh be on the menu at some point? Well, so I didn't go over their ideology, but that's a really good point. So here's our ideology that we share with the Servants of the Dark Lord. We don't like anyone that isn't of our ideology, obviously. We don't care about corpses. We don't really care about slavery either. Cannibalism is totally acceptable. Alien slavery, meaning other species other than man, acceptable. Organ harvest is fine. Very permissive. You want to eat people? Sure. You want to enslave them? Sure. Whatever helps. Let's do one more batch of tanning. Just to make sure the other pelt doesn't go to waste. Because the pelts become ruined rather quickly. So cultivation is almost done. Come on, Tal, get back at it. And I think I'm gonna have Tal focus on improved pylons. They're sort of like summoned minigun turrets, if you will, which is gonna help protect us initially. Okay, Let's fill this. That was a really nice gift. Really nice gift. So the butchery and kitchen are enclosed. It's not finished exactly, but it's getting there. And now that it's a somewhat more permanent structure, I will do proper wall lamps rather than the torch that I had initially. Raccoon wants to fight. Oh, wow, it's like right here. And you're dead. I advise you to pick your fights better, Mr. Raccoon. The Agents of the Dark Lord does not mess around. What's the maximum connections of this? I don't know if it tells me. But I'll set 2 of them up. They're not too expensive. Alright, once that slate is done, I'm gonna go start to get the granite. Okay, so both. Good. Here we go. Big old list. So things that we're gonna want in this kitchen, other than just the table itself. I don't think, I don't know, maybe I'll have you guys decide whether the signs make sense. But, we're gonna want shelving at the very least, to be able to store raw ingredients and the like. And we're also gonna want, flooring and all of that stuff. So we're working on the flooring now. Well, thank you, Anonymous Gifter. Somnatus and Sapo as well for the resubs. And Hippodas too. Numpty, man, I'm missing a lot. Cheers. Let's also move the very basic butcher block in. And then we'll move the butchery zone as well. We are now down to 21 dried meat. I'm just not fretting over it until it gets a little bit lower. I don't think it will be too much trouble to slay a bunch of donkeys for food. How do you dry meat? You dry meat with a meat rack where you dry it, which helps it keep for longer. But I'm not too worried about drying meat. We'll just have we'll just hunt for what we need for now until we can salt. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Death of the Isle, which originally streamed live on Twitch, January 14th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. Hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Tolfalas.